Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to my channel, IndigoAngel. Welcome if you are new. Welcome if you are returning. Come on into this dimension, guys. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that notifications bell and like, comment, and share this video so that way others can find out about my work. And again, thank you so much for your continued love and support of my channel. Now, today, I would like to get into diving deep into the Pegasus system, which is probably one of the most advanced and undetected radial intelligence systems networks that are essentially impacting the outcome of humans on Earth today as we speak. I am wearing my Pegnusian pendant today as it just felt, very fitting. For this energy update, and just because I've been feeling the transmissions of this radial signature so much in the grids, which I'm really going to explain that much deeper in this update, because I am saying that Pegasus is the most advanced system and fundamentally probably one of the most important systems here on Earth. You could compare the technology and the intelligence and the advancement of this system to the Arcturian systems here on this Earth. They're both working very much in the technology and the architectural design. I want to say that Arcturians are working more in the geometric architectural designs of quantum evolution within the human systems. Very much in Arcturians really like to assist in the advancement and the development of humanity in terms of civilizations and in terms of how they build and grow and become economically and energetically and harmonious, essentially. The Pegasus systems and the Arcturian systems are very benevolent. They're working very much within guardian consciousness, within the angelic realms, ultra-terrestrial, extraterrestrial realms. Pegasus is working more for malevolent and benevolent systems. They are the white horse and the dark horse. And so it comes through a multitude of advancement and experiments and technology and deep state and deep military involvement. And so I want to say that Pegasus is the radial system that is working the most hand in hand with the humans and trying to get things where humanity is supposed to go, essentially. Okay, so this kind of came up last week in my update where I was questioning the involvement of the Pegnusians, basically an effect of and to their contribution to the running Earth beast machines, the Aquilan Anunnaki dominated Earth control mechanics and matrices, which I talked, a little bit about those beast machines. This is basically planetary hijacking of organic, energetic functioning systems. This is either done through portal relocation, Stargate tampering, powering and generating with man-made Stargate powering, aiding and assisting in interplanetary colonization efforts, either within Earth itself or in exoplanet systems. It has to do with intergalactic slave trades, galactic ethnic cleansing. It has to do with tampering with the frequency mechanics of the grids and the ley lines as well, by pumping low frequency into the grids and the ley lines and essentially keeping certain facets or areas within the collective, within the countries, within the cities and states in descending cycles by manufacturing that outcome. Essentially through the beast machine. And it's also working to assist all of these trillionaires that we see, like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, with exoplanetary exploration efforts. So a lot of this information and this intel is starting to come up more, how these particular people who have the means at this time on Earth to get the human civilization to a type 1 civilization that gets gets us basically off this planet. So they're working very much with these types of technologies, and very much within the Pagnusian radial signature, and their contribution to this is ultimately where a lot of this is stemming from on a much, much deeper level, because Pagnusian technologies and radial intelligence systems have brought time travel and artificial intelligent development and so much more here to the Earth through a lot of different programs that have been running for a very, very long time here. So I'm just going to screen share this picture with you guys, because this is just one of those programs that I'm talking about that Pegasus has essentially had a hand in. And so some of you may have heard of the Montauk Project. Essentially, this was a military project that was located in Montauk, New York, and operated within Camp Hero. And essentially, this has been a huge conspiracy theory, right? But essentially, it's basically, I don't see it as a conspiracy theory. I see that this is something that really actually happened. There's actually a book written about it. I got the book. It's the same book that you see here in the picture. But essentially, Pegasus is the emblem of this Montauk Project. Okay, so it's really kind of giving us some deeper insight into the subatomic intelligences that are upholding or hosting the physical manifestation of these types of projects, experiments, and agencies, and governmental systems that are experimenting with time travel, AI, and also, some of the darker things that we talk about that are going on, the psychological warfare, the experiments in mind control, and a lot of things went down at Montauk Project. Montauk Project was probably the most tormented project, I want to say, that's happened, in the way that they experimented to get this information. So a lot of things went down in order for them to achieve time travel. They were experimenting with tampering with the magnetic field, with electromagnetic shock. And so, a lot of people suffered in the Montauk Projects. People were abducted. People were held against their will. There are a lot of survivors that came from the Montauk Project and spoke about this. So I've seen a lot of these videos on YouTube and things like this. But essentially, what I'm trying to say here is we're going to talk a little bit more about the Montauk Project later in this update today. But I just want to show you that this is one of the ways that, the Pegasus signature is essentially fundamentally interweaving into all of the advanced technology here on the Earth, and why this is next to the horse at the DIA airport is because I through what I have come to see is that this Montauk Project never really went away. It just relocated. Okay, and I do believe that the emblem at the DIA airport is proof of that this project has continued to grow and evolve on a level of secrecy at the DIA airport in Denver. And so these are very interconnected, and we're going to, like I said, talk more about this in this update. But hands down, guys, Pegasus, they've been completely left out of the main eye of the galactic story. And there's a reason for this, because they don't want to be detected. They are the war horse. They are the secret intelligence agency that is the key to everything. And so they don't want to be exposed. Essentially, but it's because they leave the biggest military footprint in galactic human history. So keep in mind that when we have Pegasus that rises or comes up in terms of energy or frequency that's being emitted, it's because the frequency of war is in the grids. Pegasus is deeply, deeply connected to all military. So it's very connected to Antares. Antares is the celestial body of war. And we really got a taste of this when Antares came through the moon last week. If you look at last week, August 15th through August 17th, the starting point of when we had the fall of Kabul in Afghanistan, that was taken over by the Taliban. Okay, this happened under the Antares moon on August 15th. And I don't want to like backtrack in this energy update because I do want to talk extensively about the Pegasus systems. I mean, I have been literally writing for 3 days straight on the Pegasus systems. I've written about 25 pages of things that I wanted to discuss with you guys. And I'm like, all right, sister, just give it up right now because we just need to start talking about something. But it's hard once you get going because you realize all of these things it's connected to. And so you want to just be able to like, fully define everything, but, it can only be done in small increments because what can be expressed in terms of, human limitations is so limited anyways, that it's really hard to kind of dive in. So I'm a little jumbled up. We'll just put it this way. But essentially, you have to think about what happened under that Antares moon. We had the fall of Kabul and Afghanistan. And this is coming up. We have Antares and now we have Pegasus systems. Now, we're not necessarily in alignment to Pegasus right now, but Pegasus will activate as a subatomic system when other systems are going through transmission because it is a supportive radial intelligence to these intelligences that uphold and host the war grids on Earth. Okay. And so it goes hand in hand with Antares. And it's important to take note of this, that this was somewhat of a miniature fall of Atlantis that was initiated under the Antares moon alignment. And like I said, Antares represents the commander-in-chief in the celestial military. I'll leave a bunch of links in the description on this video today that you can go back and look at some of the videos I've put out going into the depth of Antares. I'll also leave a bunch of links in the descriptions on Pegasus systems, videos that I've done in the past about this as well. Okay, guys. So, I also want to say happy full moon. I hope everyone is well during these full moon energies. I know that it's very amped up and activated at this time. It always is. There's always something going on, right? And so we're always just working through it on a different vibration in terms of the collective. So I have had a very foretelling vision over the last week that Pegasus will continue to be a very present force during the current international military global news and the dramas that are currently playing out. I've been seeing that now all the way through Antares season, starting at about November 9th. I've just been getting like these precursor messages that things are only going to start picking up here, feeling the effects of Pegasus and Antares working together here in military coalitions. So through mid-November is when we may really see future manifestations of what those military actions have chose through the Antares moon, right? Because November 9th through the end of November is when we will really be under the force of the Antares sun. And so the Taliban may choose to retaliate here, or just more of their true colors are just going to begin to resurface because of the regime change in Afghanistan. It's basically, re-implementing those old world Sharia laws, which are the religious laws that will continue to kind of set back humanity's growth. And they're implementing what is called scorched earth policies. And this is where the Taliban basically just destroys everything in terms of resources, destroys the land, destroys anything that their enemy could be seen as a resource. So they would go and basically scorch their own lands. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of these types of actions and behaviors. Also, the hurting of the progress of women and children in that country. And I bring this up because it really ties into the desecration of the Sophianic body, which I spoke about in my last update. And what I'm seeing here is that we are not any stronger or any more evolved or any more advanced than our weakest feminine state on the earth. Okay, so it's like a rubber band. We can't keep ascending. We can't keep progressing until those on the bottom of the totem pole receive support, receive growth as well. And so this was like a huge setback in the Sophianic body. Essentially. And so that's going to continue to essentially play out. And we're going to see that through November. So I want to explain more of my reasoning for these things, but I just don't really have a lot of time to explain that in this update today. But the reason why I see like all of this coming up is, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys again. So this is Joe Biden's birth chart, and I did this a while ago, but I think I did this when he was elected president. But essentially, he has 3 placements of Antares in his chart. He has it in his Sun, his Mercury, and his Venus. And so, you know, he's really going to play out the Antares celestial mythology. He's going to be the war chief, essentially. So you can really bet your butt that during Antares season that he is going to be making a lot more interesting decisions that are going to make the war grids a lot more spicy. And Antares will definitely probably fully manifest itself here in 2021 during November. But I just wanted to kind of bring that up for you guys. So it's really like a no wonder that I picked up on this, you know, because we have this longest war in American history coming to an end. We have this fire that's just been lit underneath the United States military and the burning heart and the burning core of this. And truthfully, all around the world, defense strategies are essentially being ignited globally. And so this brings up the Pegasus. This is where Pegasus will ultimately thrive. Because really, if you look at Pegasus, according to Draco and Anunnaki, the Galactic Federations of Worlds, Alliances, Universal and Occult Systems account of creation and who basically got here first to implant their creation story, essentially, what we have that comes up through, because what I'm referring to when I say this, at least particularly with Draco and Anu, is I'm referring to the trickle down religious systems they are connected to as well. So we have Pegasus coming through the 4 horsemen in Christianity, right? They represent a different facet of the different levels of engagement of war and the spiritual art of war. Okay, so I'm not saying that like we have war coming. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to describe is how Pegasus is so innately, intricately, immensely interwoven into all aspects of our religion and military and government. For those of you who are new to my channel and may not be as well versed with my lingo, I am talking about the celestial body's influence here on Earth. So when I'm talking about the Pegasus system, I'm literally talking about the actual Pegasus constellation, because how us as starseeds and intergalactics see it is each one of these star systems is a living intelligence field that interacts within the Earth's grids and human electromagnetic field from microcosm to macrocosm perspective, and all interfunctioning psychic and telepathic systems that drive collective world dramas and collective shared reality experiences. You can call them the Pegasus Galactic Council of of Light, the Pegasus Federation, the Pegasus Alliance, the Pegasus AIET and UT headquarters, however one wishes to define it, but they're all words that are going back to the source of the Stargate, the core of its intelligence field. So we cannot really overlook and underestimate this particular system anymore, because it is the source of all advanced technology amongst all global militaries and beyond that. For over the past 5,000 years, the horse has been an ever-present ally in war and peace. Civilizations have risen and fallen on their backs, and evidence of the horse's use is everywhere to be seen. Stargates all around the world host this nation's capacity as an unseen undercurrent. Egypt, the US, Texas, majorly Dallas, Texas, adopting the winged horse over the city. You can see this here in in Dallas, Texas. You can see Dallas is basically just majorly associated with Pegasus. You know, they have in the downtown Dallas areas, it's on some of the tops of the city's tallest buildings and the Magnolia Hotel. And so all of this is kind of coming up essentially to kind of reveal itself. It is actually said that one of the locations here in the Pegasus Plaza, so I have talked about this being a Pegasus Stargate location before. So here at the Pegasus Plaza, I thought I had some pictures pulled up of the Pegasus Plaza. Here they are. But essentially, this would be the Pegasus Plaza. Now, one thing that's really intriguing about this is it is defined by this concentric circle symbolism here. That's very, dynamically encoded to the Eye of Sahara, the Atlantean Akashic field, the encryption here with this concentric circle. And so that's what is located here in Dallas, Texas. This could be the actual well of Pegasus. It's a limestone, and I'm going to read this. This is an email that I got from Kimber Kiss. A limestone fountain and winding stream anchor the design of the plaza. The fountain is connected to a natural mineral spring 1,600 feet below the Magnolia building and is the source well for water in the plasma. A series of concentric circles embedded in the pavement radiates from the fountain into the surrounding streets. Scattered throughout the plaza are 9 granite boulders taken from marble falls carved and dedicated to the 9 muses of Pegasus. A stone dedicated to Terpsichore, the muse of dance, is next to a performance area. A stone dedicated to Melpomene, the singer of elegies and tragedies, is next to a grove of willows, which are a symbol of death. A 4,000-pound quartz crystal, a grove of bald cypress, and other symbols of healing also fill the plaza. So this is a very Pegasus-generated Stargate. I want to say Stargate because of the natural well, but it has been man-made and altered in many, many ways. But yeah, so we have this Pegasus Plaza here. But it's not just here in Dallas. It's all over the world: Arabia, Canada, United Kingdom, Norway. This star nation is the backbone of the horse mythology, which therein supports the centaurs as well, exoplanet Proxima b, and the old military human consciousness during times of civil unrest. Basically, the horse is embodied here as a tool for mankind's expansion, for mankind's nexus, which in turn birthed the Pegasus Nexus systems, which I did talk about in one of my Pegasus videos that will be in the description. This cosmic grid update here, Pegasus and the Nexus systems, where I basically dive into exploring the galaxy and occupation of territory and how Pegasus has been used as technology for colonization here on Earth, but is also going to be continuously used in those same colonization technologies for interplanetary exploration. This would be the Nexus systems here for exoplanet system science, but this is headed by the Pegasus radial encryption. And so in the spiritual realms, the unicorn, the winged horse, has given flight to the soul's purpose, right? So this is like the positive aspects, the benevolent aspects of Pegasus. And Pegasus really supports aviation as well. That's another reason why we probably see that Pegasus horse at the front of the DIA airport, is the support of aviation. But basically, positive aspects still, they incite the magic of our lives, the nexus in timeline futuristic processing mechanics. So they're here to get us where we're supposed to be going, whether we see that as malevolent or benevolent, I guess, is how one chooses to see it. But essentially, I do personally feel they're working for both sides. It is also seen as the celestial imprint of the Trojan horse, the wooden horse used by the Greeks during the Trojan War to enter the city of Troy. 30 of the Achaeans' best warriors hid in the Trojan horse's womb, 2 spies in its mouth. So metaphorically meaning enrolling itself into the fabrication of repeated war strategies globally that come to mean a trick or a strategy that causes a target to invite a foe into a sacred or targeted place. In the modern world, so this is kind of how this warfare used to work when we actually had more 3D Mortal Kombat. Now we have the internet wars. Okay, now war is all done through cyberspace. Okay, so in the modern world, this war is called malware, computing systems designed to intentionally cause damage to a computer software and a hard drive. So Pegasus may not always represent that Trojan horse in its light aspects, but in its dark aspects, you better believe that it does. Pegasus is like the knight on the global war checkerboard game. Okay. Pegasus is like the knight on the global war checkerboard game. We have one white and one black horse, and it's playing the global game of information. It is like a pawn being used by a greater force, being used to direct universal will. And the knight horse has the oldest defined movement of any other chess piece. It can pass through adjacent through the orthogonal square, and its movement is very, very unique. So this goes on to give them this undetectable quality. So the value of the knight and the horse increases. But the truth is, this knight, this horse, works best in coalitions and supporting roles. So many coalitions and collaborations have come through several other star nations and systems. Pegasus is a supporting pawn. It's a supporting pawn to all global information transactions. Andromeda Pegasus coalitions have come forward, and I have felt that this is likely the origin of the development of AI, is Pegasus Andromedan coalitions. So I say this, and I am not in any way demonizing the Andromedan systems. There is a lot of mostly predominantly benevolency that comes from the Andromedan systems, but I have long time suspected Andromeda may be one of the main galactic contributors to the development of AI on Earth, backing the Pegasus systems, Pegasus acting as the implementer. And I'm going to explain more of why that is down in the later in this update. But they're also, Pegasus is also in coalitions with Antares, Draco, Orion, Ophiuchus, Sirius, and so on and so forth. It was Poseidon who created and fathered both Horse and Pegasus from the same soul egregore. It was Poseidon who created and fathered both Horse and Pegasus from the same soul egregore, or at least through Greek mythology, this is defined. Pegasus decided to make its reveal into the collective consciousness and made its presence known during the Akashic fields and timelines of Atlantis and through Greek mythology, okay? But Pegasus' presence has been around prior to its birthing point of human awareness into the physical dimension from that time marker, okay? Pegasus has been here since the beginning. So I really, like I said, I go into defining this much more in my last Pegasus grid update. So again, I'll leave those links in the descriptions. I highly recommend watching those because I really just do break down the encryption and decode a lot of this in those videos. Most people really just don't have much clue as to what Pegasus is, what Pegasus is doing here, what they've been connected to, because they are essentially the most cloaked on Earth to humans, primarily because they only technically work within the deep state, the deep military, the deep intelligence agencies. So they are continuously kept on the inside scoop and the need to know basis. And unless you are a deep researcher, is the only way that you're going to decode, this deep Pegasus intelligence. And yes, I did have to throw in the AI, because I do believe that Pegasus is trotting and ushering in this technology, the transhumanism agendas. I really dived into that a lot in that last grid update I did on Pegasus. This is a very controversial topic in the higher consciousness community, because this really does affect the Terran souls. This does affect the Lemurian hearts and those who are really tied to the organic nature of being human. Their souls, come from the Lemurian soul collective. And so it's very hard for these particular beings to discuss the controversial topics of transhumanism. But it's very much tied into what Pegasus is doing here and what's coming forward. It is something that, we do have to discuss, because these things are kind of happening, whether, we like it or not. I hate to say that, but it's true. Like, what, anyways. Essentially, these star systems or radial intelligences continuously influence the Earth's manifestation fields through planetary and celestial alignments. So these are evolvements like the transhumanism that are coming through the star system's intelligence. Okay, that's beyond and trumps human capacities. This comes through alignment, stellar cycles. It comes through sectors of smaller groups of human intelligences according to the civilization, the branch, the organization, the race, the genetics, the stargates, the country, the national animals, coats of arms, and all of the advantages and disadvantages within those, because Pegasus is working very much within limitless light spectrum, light fields. And I would say it's the most connected to the future, because Pegasus generously generates from the Andromeda Stargate metagalactic system. If you've ever tuned into Andromeda, you would know that they are the most futuristic. They carry the seeds of our future races here. They are much further beyond developed than any other radial system here. I want to say beyond Arcturus, beyond Hydra, beyond Cygnus, beyond Alpha Centauri, Lyra. Andromedas are essentially holding all the keys to the next 200 years here on Earth, and Pegasus is its informant. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up this meme that my friend actually sent to me. I don't really know the author of this passage. Maybe they'll come in and comment on the video and put the author to the passage, because I do believe this might have been a picture out of one of his books. But it just goes into defining how closely connected Pegasus is to Andromeda. So it says, Sira, the star that flashes from Andromeda's head, is also one of the 4 stars that make up the square in the constellation of Pegasus, the steed of Perseus, who was born from the spurting blood of the decapitated Gorgon Medusa. And think about that, right? If something is born from, we know what Medusa was. Medusa represented the desecration of the Sophianic body. She was an abuser type archetype, who became the abuser after being abused. Right? She was victimized by Poseidon. She was raped by Poseidon in the temples of Athena and became this monster, right? Well, Pegasus was born from her blood. Okay, so I mean, if it's going to tell you anything about Pegasus, the father of his father being Poseidon, it's going to tell you that Pegasus is definitely going to engage in the energies of, I guess I want to say injustices, or maybe even revenge, or just warfare, just straight up warfare. The star in the head of Andromeda is also known as the navel of Pegasus, the horse, mare, sea, mother. Pegasus was the offspring of Poseidon, with whom Medusa mated in Athena's temple, violating the goddess's sacred space. This violation was a grievous offense, since Athena prided herself on being a virgin, and Parthenon means the place of the virgin. Pegasus' name may come from the Greek page or spring, and is thereby another connection to the idea that the beheading of the Gorgon is also a restoration of the waters of the virgins of the wells of Grail myths, thereby being operative in healing the wasteland. There are many winged horses in Middle Eastern art. Okay, so I'm not going to go on to read the rest of that, but essentially, it's just kind of showing how I can make those connections of Pegasus being an AI implementer, being that they're literally sharing stars between these systems. Okay, so it really, I feel like Pegasus makes the Draco and the Anunnaki systems and extensions and timelines and civilization fundamentals look completely outdated and really desperate to hold on to old world ideologies. Pegasus radial celestial intelligence have been linked to an abundance of programs here on Earth. So I'm going to quickly just go over those programs with you guys. One is the Nexus systems that I did just show you some pictures to, like the Wikipedia I just pulled up. It really speaks about the Nexus systems there. So you could always look that up and read about that and check out the videos where I talk about it. But essentially, they are the head intelligence force of the Nexus systems, Pegasus is. So this is actually a universal expansion force, a gateway for advanced cosmic construction technologies, resurrection and resurgence of the abandoned gateways. So this is where they're going out into space. They're finding abandoned gateways for interplanetary exploration, and they're reactivating them. And this means that they are, cleaning the cobwebs, so to speak, from the abandoned and forgotten galactic passageways. So the Nexus systems are to reinstate that. And it's for exploring the galaxy. It's for interdisciplinary collaboration and what is perceived as the search for life on exoplanets. These are intelligences at the head of forward momentum into colonizing space. They are the head of colonizing space. Pegasus is also the head of Darpa. So I'm just going to pull up ascensionglossary.com. They basically, you can find Darpa information anywhere on the internet, but ascensionglossary.com has a good explanation of it. But essentially, Pegasus is the head of intelligence forces at Darpa. This is considered a Pegasus project, which is a defense advanced research project. This does work in the Pentagon in Washington in the United States. They are like a advanced project program in the Pentagon. It's the agency responsible for developing and emerging technologies for use only by the military. This was initiated by Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1957 and was dedicated to expanding science and technology beyond the U.S. military requirements in computer networking. This was headed under the code name Darpa Project Pegasus. Now, another link that Pegasus is connected to and what they're working on as far as intelligence here on the Earth would be the Pegasus spyware. So they are the head intelligence forces for Project SNOOPGATE is what it's called, which is considered this Pegasus spyware. This was a story that came forward on Forbidden Stories, which is a whistleblower advocate channel. Essentially, where a whistleblower came forth and exposed the most invasive and advanced spyware technology ever created to this day. Spyware that has been sold by an Israeli NSO group to government clients in Russia, Mexico, Hungary, Morocco, Rwanda, India, and a small handful of others. This is a spyware that can It's undetectable, just similarly to the Pegasus indication. It's where it takes over an Android or an iOS phone, and it accesses every message, email, text, or tweet that you have ever sent out, every call, every internet search, every picture, every bank transaction you've ever made. And it can spy on you. It can turn on your camera, everything without you even knowing. It's already being used to spy on over 50,000 people globally, and it's growing, and they are mainly targeting public officials and journalists at this time. But if this spyware program goes from 50,000 to 50 million people, essentially this is going to be a real danger to democracy. And the fear is that this technology becomes rapidly engaged by global governments, because it's already been sold to many different governments at this point. That it's, like I said, it's going to basically, it's implementing the New World Order. Okay, so I want to say that this New World Order extensively may be coming through Pegasus systems. So again, we really need to look at what Pegasus is involved in terms of this radial intelligence here on Earth, because this is global invasion of privacy. Okay, so I've also been seeing a lot of ties and interconnections between the hush-hush communities of intelligence agencies on Earth. Pegasus is going to tie into Antares and Ophiuchus, and I really have been tying those two constellations into the Taliban. Really, there's this Ophiuchus nature to them. If you look at the ancient symbol for Afghanistan, it is a man holding a snake, which is the same symbolism as Ophiuchus. And so that's something I do want to talk about at another time. Just also the Montag projects. So the Montag projects was another thing that Pegasus is deeply connected to. They're the head radial intelligence forces for the Montauk Projects. Some of you may have read that book, this one here that I have. But this is about experiments in time, and it's represented by the big bucking golden Trojan horse. It's a book by Preston B. Nichols and a guy named Peter Moon. And it's, like I said, it was a conspiracy theory, but this really happened. And it alleges that there were a series of secret United States government projects conducted at Camp Hero in Montauk, New York. It's said that here they developed psychological warfare techniques, beast machine technologies, created and mastered time travel using Nikola Tesla's technology of radiant energy, developing teleportation devices, and opening time-space continuums by harnessing that radiant energy, creating stable time tunnels, time passage portals, manipulation, and research where they would experiment and access this through Pegasus galactic points. They conducted military experiments, teleportation, and mind control through tampering with one's magnetic field, inducing schizophrenia and electric shocks to the brain. And let me tell you guys, I was like remote viewing into this place as I was looking all this stuff up, and it felt so tormented there that I just felt like I didn't want to do it. Like it was just not, it wasn't like, it just wasn't necessary for me to view into it. It was tormented energy here in Montauk. So a lot of just shiesty stuff went down here. People had their psychic abilities enhanced here to the point that they could materialize objects out of thin air, but this also made people very, very sick. It is said that they had physical contact with ETs that came from access to hyperspace. It is said that this is the exact location that they staged the fake Apollo moon landing. This system of Pegasus is was hosting this place here, essentially. And a lot more stuff actually happened here, guys. What was going down here is homeless people were essentially being abducted and subjected to huge amounts of radiation, and few actually survived. Children were being abducted. They basically just opened up portals in time where they created and allowed researchers to travel anywhere in time or space, and developed, stable time tunnels. They had, like I said, a lot of extraterrestrial contact here. It is said that an alien monster actually came through here and traveled through a time tunnel here and basically destroyed their equipment and devoured researchers at the Montauk location. And this was all happened under this, all of this happened under disguise, that these experiments were carried out here. So again, like I said, it really makes you wonder the extensiveness of the Pegasus's involvement. I do feel that this is New World Order related, that Pegasus is being used as a tool, but it is the most advanced technology that human beings have been able to get their hands on, is through this radial system. So I wouldn't be surprised if the government has informants, like extraterrestrial informants, particularly from the Pegasus system, and has already established some form of AI intelligence in the Pegasus systems, if that is not the origin point from which this technology has ceased to present itself here on Earth. So there's a lot going on here. I just wanted to be able to transmit as much of this information as I could to you guys here today. And you know me, I'm just always still piecing the puzzle pieces together. But I don't really know what to make of it yet myself, to be honest with you. Like, I don't want to super support it because I don't know how to support something that I don't fully understand, if you know what I mean. And I've always told you guys, you know, don't fully give yourself to something you don't fully understand. So for me at this point in time, I'm just reporting on what I'm finding within the Pegasus systems. I don't want to label anything light or dark, but from what I've gathered, Pegasus is working on both sides of the coin, and they're not afraid to well, they do want to be held in secrecy, but I think it is being decoded at this point. So I don't think there's much more secrecy in this. Like, this is now being exposed. So it is what it is. But yeah, guys, I love you all so much. I hope you enjoyed this video today. I will be talking more about the Pegasus systems. This was just a bit of a rough draft for me, so I wasn't super organized in this update. I was a little bit all over the place. I also feel a little bit under the weather today. So I just wanted to just get this information out because I haven't really been able to organize it, so to speak, but I wanted to be able to transmit it. So I love you all so much. I hope you're having a beautiful everything, cosmic blessings, and I'll see you guys on the next video.